Well, good morning, one and all. It's grumpy old Git here, and we've come to Ramsbottom. It's part of metropolitan Bury. It's just on the edges. They consider themselves perhaps Lancashire, but it's a lovely little town. And Ramsbottom, it's got its name because there are so many vets who live here and regularly have to examine that very part of anatomy of the actual ram. And once again, I'm telling a complete load of rubbish. But seriously, the town, it's a typical example of 19th century industrial expansion. And it's sort of very much at the heart of, well, not the heart, but the sort of the outer valves of what was going on during the Industrial Revolution. And it commenced really with the actual expansion, a family called the Grants, who were just totally penniless from Scotland. And they came down here and turned themselves into quite the entrepreneurs. And that was without the internet and with nobody being social influencers either. They were very much textile barons, were the Grants, and they weren't just known for their astute, developed business skills, but very much into philanthropy and benevolence to the locals, which didn't go unnoticed. And it wasn't unnoticed by one gentleman in particular, a chap who used to scribble a few notes called Charles Dickens. And what Charlie Boy did was when he wrote his 1838 novel Nicholas Nickleby, he used William Jr. and Daniel Grant as his inspiration for, and I just got to have a quick look because I wrote it on my hand here, the Cheeryble brothers, a very famous former prime minister and a gentleman who won't be too pleased with the current spate of young men in their black hoodies chasing around double-decked on 94-mile-an-hour electric scooters, selling their drugs and insulting the population as they run by on one wheel, and that's Sir Robert Peel. He's got an association with the town, and the Peel Monument, which if I sort of jump up and down in the air, I could see from here, is up on the hills, and you can go and have a lovely walk to it. And well, anyway, just do as you want, as they say. Don't take my word for it. Right, we've kicked off here. You can see in the background there, if you have a look, where we've got St. Paul's Church. This was consecrated in 1850 and is very much an excellent example of Gothic revivalism. I said that without having to take my teeth out and put them back in again. So let's go and have a wander around the church. I don't think it's open, although it's Friday, but you know me and churches and general architecture. Come on, let's stop yakking and get going. Well, they always say you only get a first chance to make a first impression, or a one chance, and this is the church itself. Well, obviously it's church. You can see it's a church, but very pleasant. And the grounds it's in are quite lovely, very well kept, lovely flowerage. And let's just go and have a quick peep at the monument, which, you know, my fascination with war memorials. Just bear with me while we get over there. Just a bit of a view of the town that's from, that's where we came in. And of course we came in, we had to come in somewhere. Yes, lest we forget, make sure you don't. And this was the two world wars, this particular monument. Church in the background, which I'm sure you can see. And some of the people who gave up their lives during the two wars. There's one lot of inscriptions there. And opposite is another. And you can see very, very well kept greens. Very impressed. Mine doesn't take much to impress me, but this is very nice. And another aspect of the church. And I've just seen the door is open. Do they know they're going to let a vagabond like me in? Well, that's a very impressive door. The postcode lottery could do some mighty fine knocking on that particular door. Ah, that's a shame. It's a toddler's play group this morning, and as I don't know how these sort of Duplo bricks and things stick together, way beyond my IQ, so I won't stay. As we walk out, just show you here, there's a few rather ancient monuments. They're rather interesting, to say the least, which shouldn't be with gravestones, I suppose, and all said and done. 1865, we have a death there, and again, all respectfully maintained to honour those who have passed away. Yes, extraordinarily well kept. It's lovely to see, and there's no reason why it shouldn't. And there's those grave flagstones I've told you about in previous places where I learnt in Stockport that because of financial constraints, people were often buried a few deep because they couldn't afford their own plot. And oh, a little memorial corner here. Let's just have a quick look before we go. Yes, a nice little memoriam section. Just behind the church, you can see some rows of typical Pennine gritstone houses, and they'll be all over the town. Of course they will. No point in having them in the middle of a shopping centre. Although that could be termed grit your teeth more than Pennine gritstone. Onwards and forwards. Oh, Murray's school uniform. Wouldn't want my kids wearing his old uniform. Oh. Anyways, you can see a typical architecture of the time. Saddlery and riding wear. No funny comments from me about that. If you need any alternative arrangements made, there you go, there's a place to go. There's a nice tavern, the Railway, which brings me to what it's sitting beside. Yes, a railway. Actually, as I'm passing by here, the Cultured Bean and Drink. Oh, look, we've got a misspelt shop here in posh Ramsbottom. How wonderful is that? It's quite an Epicurean centre, or at least it used to be many years ago. And it's chock full of lovely places to eat that are non-typically national brands. And there's the railway pub there. But let's go and see the railway. Enough now. No, look, Thomas the Tank Engine. Anyway, what's different about this one is it's the East Lancashire Railway. And there's a heritage steam train that runs from Ramsbottom Station. This is a 12-mile journey. But the station itself is a great example. Yes, a great example, not just an ordinary example of cherished Victorian architecture. Don't know if we can get in or not, but we'll have a look. There's the 12 miles it does from Rawtenstall, dropping off here and then ending up in Haywood, just beyond Bury. Choo-choo! Yes, it's a quality assured visitor attraction because His Worship, the Mayor, he reopened it in 1989. And a nice example of a Victorian car park complete with Victorian markings. It seems a bit closeted, but I've been told if I skip round, my days of skipping have long gone, if I skip round the other side, I might just be able to have a Gansey in. Typical railway box, control box, with nice cushioned seats in there. Well, good luck to them. And that's you see that I suppose the drivers sit here, not the drivers of the train, the car drivers sit here fuming when the things come across. And there we are, there's a picture of the station. We'll go and see if we can get a better view. Oh, the Manchester United Vets are playing. And this is Acre Bottom Lane, which is dedicated to the wonderful purveyors of burgers that never look like they are in the advertising. I know it's not an overused railway, but they always build these new houses, facing the choo-choo train track. There, sorry it's against the sun, but there's an old stack from one of the mills all those years ago. And there we go. One wonderfully preserved Victorian station. And I see it's complete with some Victorian luggage. Not quite the stuff you get on wheels nowadays. As we head back to the town, if I remember rightly, I think, well, weren't the wheels on cases just some sort of instantaneous invention by some Japanese chap who was dragging a rather large piece of luggage back in the 60s or 70s or so? Now, if your luggage hasn't got wheels, you get looked on as if you're an alien. People go, oh, oh, oh. I go, oh, oh, whenever I go up to a Ryanair check-in desk, but never mind. There we go, a better view of the signal box. And that's right beside Bridge Street Gardens, which is a leisure facility. Let's go and have a little quick peek, shall we? Oh, it's part of the Irwell Sculpture Trail, We'll be looking at something that's a major aspect of that in the centre of the town in a little while. Aren't you excited? Let's go and have a look. Some sort of traily thing here with a message. Looks like I'll be remembered forever and never forget my river dreams, from somebody called Lucy Whitten. Ah, looks like I'm being investigated by two approaching ducks who may think I have some duck food. Remember, don't give ducks bread. Not good for them. Get some duck feed. Well, it's a nice little park and play area, and it's right beside the river. Now, I'm going to make a statement now because I didn't do my lookup before I did. I think it's the River Irwell. And very nice it is too. A lovely rural shop there. Yes, very nice it is too. I'm sure you'll agree. If you don't, well, tough. I've just read the instructions. This metal river thing that snakes its way around, it's an 80-meter stainless steel path inscribed with poems. So now you know. Oh, there's a little gate what I can use. Isn't that wonderful? It'll spring close behind me and then look left. No, that's right. Look right. Look left. As I'm busy looking, no doubt I'll get run down by a train. Oh, this is so exciting. Oh, little amuses are simple, eh? Yeah. And there we are. Let's head off up the town. It's an incline, but not necessarily too steep for a seasoned, grumpy old git like me. Ooh, barber no less. Ramsbottom, sweet treats and teddy bears. Bit of a mixture. Oh. For those not in the know, Rammy is the colloquial term for the town. Oh, nice little bit of produce. Plentiful Whole Foods, they're called, just in case you want to know. Animal Sanctuary, charity shop, I approve of that. And then we've got over here the old bank, which, again, a testament to the power of the town all those years ago, that it's only a small town yet it's got this fine looking bank. And the old bank, a bar place. And yet another of the many eateries. I hate that word. Ugh. Cafes in the town, we'll call it instead. Right. And just coming up here on the right is Memories Antiques. And that's one of those places that they have loads of little stalls and stands and things inside where they sell on behalf of local dealers. I'm not going to go in, as last time I went in, a good many years ago, cost me 60 quid for stuff that I didn't really need, and actually I didn't really want. There's the Oaks, which is another hostelry. It's got outstanding ales. It's made by farmers because they're all outstanding in their field. Well, typical view of accommodation right off the main drag of the town. Oh, look, Manning's. I've not heard of Manning's before. Gap in my knowledge. And again, two more little eating establishments. And that's a Thunder Bar. Bus going past, bus. And Grind and Tamp. I'm sure you can make fun of that. And then another little bar hidden in a row of houses. Street Eats, yes, well that has memories because Street Eats used to be the Hungry Duck, which was an absolutely incredible little restaurant where I'm delighted to say we'd eaten several times. That's many years ago. Fabulous it was too. And Cannes, Chinese and English meals, well, say no more. And as you can see, if I want to walk 12 or 15 miles, I can get back home. Or if I want to go to Burnley, hey, a hello from a gentleman in a lorry. Right, and here we are. We're at one of the little items we want to go and have a look at. And while I'm waiting for the traffic to change, there's a view up Bolton Street. Yes, slap bang in the town centre. Nice building there. We've got what's called the tilted vase, or vase, depending on what you might call it. This is a David Lynch, 2 tons it weighs, sculpture. It's part of the Irwell Sculpture Trail, which makes me believe I was correct in naming the river the Irwell. And it's quite a piece. I don't know if it's one of these where you shout into it and it makes a noise. I don't know. Again, I've not read the instructions. But there's where we just came from. Ah, no, you can't shout into it. It's just a sculpture-y sort of thing. So say no more, which is exactly what I'll do. Apart from saying, it's a darn big thing. And then as we see over there, yet another place to have a little bit of an eat. Baristas. Yes, you've always got a barista. You have to have one somewhere. And as you can see over there, the Pink Rhino, another eating and drinking establishment with a happy hour that lasts 2 hours. Why can't these people count? And then Trey, Kick, Kyo. I suppose that's Tracy Kyo. And I ain't climbing up there. This is the Ramsbottom Market Chambers. Again, another example of some of the local architecture that they keep shouting on about. Oops, was just nearly tripping over the pavement. Formby's bookbinding. I bet there's an awful lot of people who don't know what a book is or what a binding is. Car lodge. What's this? Double car lodge. Double car, get it? Never mind. And that, needless to say, is the way out for those who want to escape. And there's a bus for those who want to escape by bus. That's a very nice apartment block with the old Victorian houses. How lovely. It was the Wesleyan Chapel, but it ain't no more. And the Ramsbottom Civic Hall for all occasions. I wonder how they'd respond if Rush, the Canadian rock trio, said we want to do a concert here. On the side of the hall, the door is open. Maybe I'll go and see if I can stick my nose in. I don't know if I'll get away with that. You can probably hear in the background, we've got some ladies doing some shuffle, left, right, so I'll leave them to it. And that's a sensible car park here at the Grant's Arms. All you've got to do is park correctly. No charges. Well, that's a good way to encourage business into the town. And yes, I digress. Well, I always do. This is the, I think it's an information point. But to get into the main hall, Medivet, always there. Well, how does that work if you're here and there over there? As we wander down to the blue plate I've just discovered, I was going to say it's worth mentioning, but is it really? I don't know. Victoria Derbyshire, the presenter, she's from Ramy, as was Henry Holland, the famous fashion designer. Danny Beard, the popular drag artist, he's been on something called Rue something or other and some celebrity help. I'm not a celebrity, get me out of here nonsense. And there's been a little brace of footballers, of course, with the football legacy within the Greater Manchester area. Kieran Tripp. I'll just have a look at this now. Kieran Trippier. Yeah, Trippier. As you know, football means nothing to me. I wasn't even aware we got knocked out of the World Cup. Well, I was, but I'm just pretending I didn't know. And there we go. Top of the brow. According to the Ramsbottom Heritage Society, it's the rear part of this building was home to who we just mentioned before, William and Grace Grant, once they arrived in Ramsbottom in 1806. And we've got Mrs. P's luxury ice cream. I just hope Mrs. P's luxury ice cream is not a shade of yellow. Did I just say that? Yes, I did. I was just speaking to a local lady. She wouldn't go on camera, just chatting about the... you may or may not know that at the time of recording this, we've just all received our Unitary Mayor for Manchester booklets with the candidates listed therein. And Ramsbottom is not a particularly Gorgonzola, Godzilla green area at all. And she was horrified by the candidate from, I think she's a councillor for Trafford, who's representing the Greens. This lady was just horrified that on her Making Manchester Great and Looking After Manchester statement, she's put those 4 infernal words that the Greens are obsessed with, and that's Gaza. And she seems to think that worrying about Gaza, will that, pardon the noise going by, worrying about Gaza, will that necessarily get her bins emptied, the disabled space that she's been trying to get outside the house for her husband for months, or her bins collected on time? I don't think she's far wrong, but that Goggins woman, I have heard from an insider on Trafford Council, is not a very pleasant woman. And yet another restaurant, as we can see. And the Theatre Royal's down there. We'll have a look at that in a minute. And the Grey Mare, oh, maybe that's Goggins from Trafford Council. Sorry, that's an awful thing to say. And this goes up towards, I say, this is in the Bolton direction. And well, that's it. Aside from all the architectural wonders you can see. Another one here, Eastern Eye, New China Cottage, and then Exley, whoever Exley is. Just one little restaurant and bar after the other, which is what Ramsbottom is famous for. You can see another drinking sign just up there. Well, I mean, the sign itself is not drinking, but you know what I mean. There's Humble Pie, but they're not playing today. Sorry, that's a joke for those who are of my age. MJ's Bar and San Leonardo, San Leonardo we ate in some 7 or 8 years ago. And Italian Lounge, just one little restaurant after another. And there's the Baptist Chapel. Sorry, it's right into the sun, that one. But let's go and have a look at the little blue plate, shall we? Say, shall we? You know I am. And there we are. It's the Matthew Haygarth Memorial Trust. And oh, look, he provided funds for low-cost rented accommodation for older single persons. And then we very quickly run out of commercial Ramsbottom. As you can see, that's where the commercially bit starts. But we'll just swing back round again and continue up here because I seem to have found an old church. Let's go and have a look. It's St. Joseph Church, part of the RC Diocese. This is what I find quite surprising. It's the RC Diocese of Salford, and that was built in 1880. And the fact that Salford is miles away and nothing to do with Bury always causes a tickle. But then that having been said, if you look at Leeds, it's very much in the parish of Ripon, which is quite a few miles away. And similarly, you'll find the likes of Burnley, or is it Blackburn? I get them both confused. And the one that has the cathedral, that's not a cathedral, that's part of the Diocese of Manchester because the bishop installed a bishop's chair there trying to expand the diocese, but the good people of Burnley, or was it Blackburn, weren't having it. It hasn't escaped my eye, the flowerage on the railings. Nice to see. Ramsbottom in bloom, eh? There's a number of these cameras, you know, the ones attached to your computer. I won't give the name away. On the side of the wall on very flimsy looking sort of brackets. People are very brave. Oh, that's rather imposing. And as we wander down here, this is the Irwell Works Brewery, and it's in a restored engineering factory, somewhat historic, complete with Victorian ladders. Sorry about that, that's awful, no need for that. Just taking a wee shortcut, memory clicked in, and I just remembered I saw a blue plate as I was wandering around near the market square. That's not really square. There is incidentally a farmer's market here. It's a very well-known market, and it runs on the second Sunday of every month. And you can get everything farmish, I presume. The old brewery, Fine Woodworks, 1972. So it actually makes stuff out of wood. How fabulous. Just have a quick poke in so the light goes, there we go. Woodworking place. And some fine binnage here in Ramsbottom. All the colours of the spectrum. Well, apart from red and violet and indigo and orange. Only if you can see there a Red Admiral doing his Red Admiralizing. Oh, there's two of them. Look, isn't that wonderful? Can you see them? I hope you can see them. They're fluttering by. Keep clear. Access required. Well, plainly the bins aren't very good at hearing such things. And we've arrived at the Theatre Royal. If anyone's ever coming here, it's on Smithy Street, and it's all run by volunteers. And jolly good too. Oh, and a proper theatre traditional sign outside. Door twas open, stuck nose in, but sadly they're just getting ready for a do this evening, which is fair enough. A do as in some sort of balloony type of archy thing, presumably a wedding. That'd be interesting, having it on a theatre. Ah, it's not the one I planned on seeing, but it was a former beer house, and named after the large printing complex way back in 1783 to 1822. But I think now it's been completely, as they say nowadays in modern lingo, repurposed. I never knew that. There was a large Irish nationalist presence in Ramsbottom, and they occupied the building when they were going about Home Rule for Ireland. Ooh. Huh. Then we got down this little side street, the vineyard or wine merchant, and I can't pronounce that one. Is it Coali, Coafi, Loagfi? I know they're bakers, and actually it's reminded me I've not had any breakfast yet. And there we have the Spice Garden, no less. So as I told you, a complete mixture of places to eat and drink. So do come down sometime. You know, not just advertising, but I do like to keep things local. That's always one of my keen ones. Not wellness. Ooh. And they've called it use, which connection with Rams, do you get it? Use? Anyway, never mind. Right, here's the blue plate I saw from earlier on. Let's just go and have a nosy. And it's the model, built in 1879. It looks like a house to me. I'm not sure it's a model, but I'll take their word for it. I'm not going to argue with those who know. And new model lodging house, opened in 1888 with 72 beds to help with overcrowded lodgings. And then this, something here, what's this? Let's have a look at what the name of this is. Ah, 1910 electricity supplies. So it's not the 1910 fruit gum company. Do you remember that? That's me showing my age again. Ah, we've got Bertie Bees, the Bee of Greater Manchester. Ramsbottom Dental Surgery. Oh, if it was Ramsbottom Mental Surgery, I'd nip in there and get my head seen to. And there we go. And there you have it, really. Not a very big town, but quite a busy bee of a town, to quote that shop on the front. And there we go. Just a little short trip to Ramsbottom. I don't want to elongate it by spouting more rubbish than I usually do. So I just say thank you very much for joining me on my little trip around Rammy. And as I always say, look after yourself and be well.